everyone, and welcome to the March episode of the Nightmares to Miracles podcast. My name is Brittany Van Rees, and I'm here with Dr. Dave Asomaning, and together we discuss miracle mindsets. We are going to focus on a lesson from A Course in Miracles today, and Dave is going to break down how this relates to our theme for the year. And we've been doing this show for a couple years now, and so thanks to those of you who have been watching and supporting. And welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. So, Dave, why don't you introduce what you do as an executive coach in the topic of miracle mindset?
Excellent, Brittany. Good to be with you. Good to see you. We've got a lot of other news that we'll be sharing in due course. That you're in charge of that news, but big, so excited. I can barely contain myself with excitement, but I'm looking forward to your news as we go along at your pace. So thank you for that intro. Yeah, I live in Florida. I work here remotely with people all over the world as an executive coach. I have been doing this out of a leadership development course I was asked to teach when I was just done with psychotherapy training at the institute that I graduated from. And this was area pastors who were doing human growth and development and a bunch of other sort of psychologically minded courses at our clinic, at our institute. And I was teaching the human growth and development, and I was teaching leadership. And so I created a curriculum that first year, and I just kept building it. And also, my mentor in the Episcopal Diocese of Connecticut in the ordination process there, which I was in but dropped out of before I finished, she was a high-level executive in the insurance industry, for which Hartford, where she worked, is the capital. And so she was doing a lot of executive coaching herself, and she was telling me about it while she was guiding me through the ordination process. So again, all these different influences, many more besides. So bottom line, I support wealthy clients, very ambitious, very successful clients, to figure out issues in their personal lives and their professional lives that are stressing them out and to de-escalate the level of stress. So a typical sort of scenario would be somebody who has been very disciplined, very effective in managing people, building out a company. They have a liquidity event. They sell the company for, let's say, $60 million, $100 million, $300 million, whatever. And they have a lot of money come in to their lives. And then they're like, okay, now what do I do? I got to go, 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 go. I've been doing that for 20 years. I just can't stop. I can't relax. I mean, I go on vacations. I go to the nicest places. I have the nicest things, but I'm always like, so that a lot of things revolve around that and helping clients find a sweet spot where they feel safe letting it all go without losing uh, their power, their superpowers that made them successful. It's a balancing act, and a lot of that just has to do with careful listening and all the things I learned as a psychotherapist. Even though I don't do psychotherapy per se anymore. So today, as with each of these calls more recently, I want to delve into something that has formed me as an executive coach and the way I do the work. And it fits our categories that you'll see even in the podcast when Brittany, you post the podcast for us. It starts out with the video version, starts out with health, wealth, love, and enlightenment. These are four categories that I encourage everyone to think about. And I think about on a daily basis myself. So we've done the health one when I talked about my heart, uh, escape from my heart, congestive heart failure. Talked about that's the health. I talked about my German exam, which was a 2-hour scholarly exam, which was holding up my professional development. I couldn't feel to move forward confidently with the Ph.D. process back in 1992. That same hypnosis series helped me to think about money and to upgrade sort of my mindset about money and to clean out limiting thoughts on many, many different levels. So health, wealth, love. So today is the love one. And what I usually say about this one is that, I have been in quite a few different nightmarish relationships over time. And now with where I am, I say I'm happily single. I'm just happy to be single and just living my life without having to negotiate it with another person, like I've tried to do many different times with varying degrees of success and longevity and things like that. And so, in this love segment, and the next time we'll talk about enlightenment, sort of the source of the enlightenment process in my life, and so on. So, health, wealth, love, and enlightenment. Today, we're talking about love. So, it really all boils down to growing out of a certain naivete that just being in love with somebody is good enough, or having a good my attitude towards employees or fellow workers or supervisors, or that's all good enough. It's like there's a certain naive level of that that was in my life. And where I am right now is a much more professionally refined and personally refined approach. So, for instance, just to give one example for today, and then we'll move on to the rest of the call. There are many, many of these um, hacks, if you will, or uh, power principles or best practices. But just one for today is that in working with a couple, I will usually try to set things on a foundation in which the couple can understand that when I'm speaking with each of them individually, I'm all in to understand their story or their movie, the way they want to tell the movie, and that I'm not taking sides, even though I can hear ways in which what they do is going to alienate the other and the other is going to alienate the one. But just to start out, it's each person's movie. And then as we go deeper, using other tools like Getting the Love You Want, which is one of my favorite books, sort of like therapy in a toolbox, all in one for people to do on their own. I'll tease out what I refer to as the double villain dilemma. So, in the double villain dilemma, everyone, once they pass the honeymoon phase, is in a phase where they see the partner to varying degrees, more or less so, as their problem. And they have ways of talking about the partner to the partner and to other people as though the partner were the villain of their movie. Can be very subtle and very muted, or it can be very amplified and very big. And when by the time I'm seeing people, it's kind of a knockdown, drag out, consistent. Maybe it's been going on for 5 years or whatever. And my job is to support moving from that nightmare to a totally different way of looking at it. And again, just to cut to the chase on this, and then turn the mic over to you, see if you have anything you want to say or ask, and then we'll go to the rest of our next steps, excellent steps in the call that we've evolved together. Um, the main best practice there is to get each client to be able to have an inventory of their grievances for which the partner is the villain, but to learn the discipline of doing that privately and not dumping that on the client or not making that for public consumption generally. Keep it to your coach, your therapist, a really trusted confidant who doesn't buy your story fully, that your partner is the villain, right? And so this is all from A Course in Miracles. It's got all so many different touch points in A Course in Miracles, but it's one of the toughest things that I had to give up, which was demonizing or villainizing people I had been with and getting accustomed to telling the story as if they were my arch enemy, to really sort of understanding I chose them to have them as the excuse, really, ultimately. So it becomes very similar to letting go. I chose my heart problems in order to have this as a kind of excuse to blame God, to blame myself, to blame other people. So anyway, I'll park it there for now. That's the love box, and getting into the details of this and nurturing and supporting a client. Uh, if they don't already, a lot of them have some intuition about this, some knowledge of it. Uh, Quite a few don't. I love all my clients, not trash talking anybody, but it's my pleasure and privilege and high honor to support them, to understand this, and to walk with them as they sort it out. And usually, what happens is the relationship self corrects miraculously, or they find a way to see more clearly that it's not the right thing for them. And a lot of my clients will then become very good friends with their exes, and again, it's not I'm not the only person who has seen this and has done this. I mean, it happens a lot in life, but um, it's really a miraculous outcome, if you can have an amicable resolution. So anyway, so much for that part of the work and what's a best practice and what I love about the work and how I've come to it. Anything you want to comment on, good, bad, or indifferent, Brittany, and then we'll keep moving forward.
Oh, there's so much that I could say about everything you just said, but I want to get to the lesson without too much derailing. But
Sure.
have any of your insights enabled you to consider the prospect of reopening yourself in the category of love someday?
Great question. So at 66 years old,
You're never too old. Don't
no,
use
I know.
that. No.
I no, I totally hear you. I totally hear you, and I appreciate you're saying that. One of the delights of this is the understanding the differences at different stages of life.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So something
Hmm.
that I was very fiercely passionate about, and almost like a subtle way to repair and correct the failures of my parents in their relationship with each other, was to quickly get one and show I can do this and I can be, that kind of thing. That was a very young imperative. Now the imperative is peace above all, and this personal responsibility for everything I experience in my life. And so the answer is yes. I mean, if I was to meet someone who takes that imperative seriously for themselves, like I'm not going to put my stuff at your doorstep, that you're the problem, you're the villain in my movie. Um, if that's an ongoing kind of thing, I don't do it with them. They don't do it with me, and we have a good friendship and some commonality. Why not? That sounds good. And you have your own house. I have my own house. These are other things that come with uh, age a bit. It's like, yeah, we can travel together, but I stay mostly at my house. You stay mostly at your house. We meet from time to time. We go to dinner. We go to events, but we're not on top of each other. And even if you do come over, you can sleep in the extra bedroom if or I can go to the extra. It's not an insult to do all those things that make it smoother. Whereas I think with more standard relationships, each one of the things I just mentioned is a huge drop down. I mean, a drawn out fight. You know, it can be. So I'm open, but it's not essential. You know what I mean? It's so
Quick comment on that. I
yeah.
had an elder relative in my family who she had a friend who lived in another town, but they would meet up every Wednesday and have lunch together. So we used to call him her Wednesday boyfriend. And that was it.
I
That was
love
their
it.
relationship.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I'm learning, because again, one just quick sidebar that you prompted me to think about. I wasn't thinking
Mhm.
about this as part of the presentation today, but I will frequently say to female friends that I do have dinners with, it's completely platonic. It's always been platonic, nothing there that either has tried to pursue. I'll always say, oh, they say, somebody's might be interested in you that I know. And I'm like, I'm happily single. I come right out of the gate with that.
Mhm.
And I think that it can be off-putting,
Mhm.
even though I think I'm doing a service.
Mhm.
If you mess with Dave, you won't be happy if that's what you want.
You're
Uh,
like Hitch. That's you.
what's that?
You're like Hitch from the movie with the
Oh,
Will
I
Smith.
never saw
Yeah.
that. Is that what Hitch is
Oh,
about?
really?
Yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, he's a matchmaker or like a dating coach, but he's also perpetually single. So,
Right, right.
yeah. But
So
I think
again,
by choice, yeah, kind of like above relationships almost in the movie. Yeah. Yeah.
it's funny. That's hilarious to me. Well, I love it. And so again, the people say, "Oh, well, how can you help other people if you're not in a relationship that's working yourself and you're single and all of this?" And I always say, my expertise really at the end of the day is not in any of these specific areas, although I have some knowledge how to make health, how to get into wellness, how to make money, how to, be in good harmonious relationships. My expertise is in how to get out of a nightmare and to wake up from a nightmare. That's my real expertise. If that's what people want, and you feel like life is becoming too complicated and too unmanageable, and you want somebody who can help with the waking up process, I own that. I'm good at that, just because I've been in so many of them myself. So, all right. Thank you, Brittany. if anything else occurs to you, we'll patch it in as we go along. So there are many, many different elements here, but I'm just going to really jump to, for now, the journey we've been on together, which has a lot of miracles in it, right? So we've been together. I think this is our sixth year doing the podcast, like what we're doing now. It's just unbelievable that time has flown by that fast. And part of the reason it's a miracle is that we've actually never met in person, right? So there's an enormous amount of gratitude that you came into my life and helped me launch this information component um, of my work at this very high level. That's just such a blessing, And we had worked together maybe 2 or 3 years before that, so we have some real longevity in our work. Again, not to exaggerate or anything, but it's almost 10 years total, almost, not quite, maybe 8, 9, something like that. But so it's just full of gratitude. And one of my big points on this, for those of you who have listened to us, you might want to skip this part, or it's like a scripture reading from our lives, not, so conceited that I'm saying this is a scripture. I'm saying it's like the process of scripturalizing something where you keep ruminating and reflecting on and recalling a miracle over and over again. So if you choose to, you're familiar with it and you choose to jump over, fine. I like repeating it each time, um, because it re-inspires me around what we're doing, and that it's not just Dave with some ideas. It's bigger than that. The higher power is kind of involved, and it's part of my purpose in life. It's connected to that. So, in a nutshell, we started with worksheets. When I first discovered your work, you helped me with worksheets. Just amazing work. I was just so delighted with your skill and your talent and what you brought to the process with me. And then after that, we went to my online course and we were looking at video modules. You did the same thing there. You just transformed everything into such a higher grade of product, collateral, if you will, for my work. And then I was able to repurpose the videos um, into the book, a rough draft of the book, which required some polishing over a year or two to bring it to market. Did that. And then after the book was out, I was like, wow, okay, now I have something substantive, concrete. I can talk about it. I can promote. I can sell it. I can do this. I can do that. So maybe a podcast that talks about the book, but isn't just about sell, sell, sell the book, or promote, promote, promote the book. And so I somewhat tentatively, carefully approached you. I was like, maybe I'm overloading her with too many things. She'll be like, go find somebody else. I'm tired of you, whatever. But I finally, checked in with you about whether you'd be interested and could do podcasting as a co-host with me, whether that's something you'd be open to. And you were, and that's um, brought us to where we are. There are a couple of other pieces on this, and then I'll hand you the mic to add any information about where people can find you or what you do, anything you want to share. So, um, out of this process with you, Brittany, as you know, we have the video podcast, we have the audio podcast, and then we have what amounts to the written podcast, which is the blog. And each of them can be looked at independently. You can mix them. Um, and you have a skill for editing everything, packaging everything, posting everything. And then that makes the social media component of all of this very easy. Just put it into the 12 different platforms that we've got, the Instagrams, the 3 Twitters, the 3 Facebooks, and whatnot. So the whole thing is just, it's exponential. It's, we do this and then it just broadcasts out in so many different ways, which I'm very blessed with. So over to you for anything you want to add about where people can find you, what you do, Brittany.
Thank you for that shout out, Dave. And yeah, I love ruminating on this miracle as well, because when you came to me with your project, I was like, wow, this is so cool. I was really into manifestation at the time and the law of attraction and things like that. So miracle mindset was something I hadn't heard of before. So I've been learning so much over the years from you, and it's been so helpful in my own life with getting out of nightmares that I've had, personal, and now I'll also share my news maybe coming out of this. Maybe it's a good place to share it. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
So yeah, I just had my first child, so that was really exciting. Last month he was born in my house, and it was a home birth, and it was unmedicated. I was telling Dave it was so painful, I couldn't handle it, and he's like, "Aren't there medications for that?" And I'm like, "Yes, Dave, there are." In fact, yeah, I chose not to take them, but in the moment I was regretting that choice, I'll tell you. So if anyone watching is on the fence about it, you have to be sure. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I may not do it again that way. I don't know.
Wow.
But it was really I feel proud of having
I
made
feel
it
proud
through
of
it.
you hearing you say
Thank
it.
you.
This is another part of the miracle. I just feel so
Yeah.
proud of you, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I
say
must.
you don't win an award or anything for
Yeah.
doing it, but I have my own. I had a birth plan. I was able to stick to it, mind over matter. It's really a mind game though. I was telling Dave, it's just the length of the birth. When people say, "Yeah, my baby came out in 4 hours," I'm like, "Well, good for you," because it can take days, Dave.
Yeah,
Mine was
right.
mine was even short compared to others. So,
Wow.
yeah, mine was about 12 hours in total, or ten bad hours, but yeah, it was a whirlwind and an experience. And the baby is, amazing, but that is a symbol of the miracle of just the whole family. Because when I met Dave, I didn't have a husband, I didn't have a husband in sight, so not a specific one. So, yeah, it's just been such a journey, and I couldn't be happier. And every step that had to occur to get me here has just been so essential. And that's the miracle, really. It's just the way it all came together and the timing of it too. Um, yeah, I wouldn't want it any sooner because of the person that I am now, as
Mm,
opposed to the person I was before. I've just
mm.
grown a lot, and so yeah, it's been great. And Dave has seen glimpses of my life through it all, and my travels and that kind of thing. So thank you for being there. And
You're welcome.
now you're Uncle Dave.
I
Yeah.
love that title. I
Mhm.
love that role. I love all of that's involved.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I'm very hands off.
We've
You and
never
your
met in
husband.
person. We always tell people we've just
Yeah,
had this digital, global, yeah, work relationship for the past years. And one day we will meet in person, though. I'm gonna
totally.
hold, yeah,
Eventually,
hold myself to that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All in God's plan, all in
Mhm.
God's time. But
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of you and your husband and
Thank
your
you.
baby and the
Mhm.
family unit. And I'm honored to be a part of it in whatever way makes sense as we go along. So thank you,
Mhm.
thank you, thank you to you both, to all three of you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, one day I'll yeah have more to share about the ups and downs of
Sure.
parenting, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah, very
for
much.
now, to get back to your last question about where people can find me, I
Yeah.
have a website, which is brittanynew.com, my maiden name, and my YouTube channel is also Brittany New, and I post videos on AI and business development, strategy, marketing types of things. But if you want to reach out to me, then there's my contact information is best found on my website, brittanynew.com. So yeah, anyone watching can feel welcome to reach out.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that. Thank you for your generosity, your excellence of your work. It's just so easy to promote and recommend you and
Thank you.
just shout it from the rooftops. I'm always so happy to do it. And again, with your family, that more personal dynamic, that's very exciting.
Mhm.
It's just a slice of life, and
Mhm.
all that you've done and you and your husband are doing to be the type of parents that it's clear that you are, and the thoughtfulness about each of the steps. It's like, again, I can't wait as we go along to hear more as you grow, you and your unit, as you grow as parents. So excellent. Well, good. All right. So thank you, Brittany, for sharing with us in so personal a way. I love it. So we're going to do the lesson now. This is the sort of the main teaching focus. We do it from A Course in Miracles. As you mentioned earlier, Brittany, we have a theme every year. We've done so many themes: miracles as one theme, forgiveness as one theme, atonement as a theme, light as a theme. And the reason we're doing some of the current themes that we've been doing over the last few years is because I didn't have a recording process, didn't have a blogging process for any of this. I was just doing the themes with a Course in Miracles kind of support group that we've been running for maybe 15 years now, something like that, only documenting it for the last 10. And I've forgotten what we learned way back when we first did some of these lessons. So peace, which is the theme for 2026, is one of those things we did. I have it in my notes. We studied it. We did all the lessons, but I can't remember for the life of me what we actually tackled. Now that's okay. A Course in Miracles says that's okay. It's in there. It's doing its work, even if you can't remember everything specifically. But I like to be a little bit more conscious. So that's why we're where we are, doing this lesson, which goes like this. The lesson is like this. I could see peace instead of this. This is lesson 34 from the workbook. I could see peace instead of this, right? So the very first paragraph is the only teaching about this idea in this lesson. It's a very short lesson. It's got 6 paragraphs. Sometimes they have 10, 11, 12 paragraphs. This one has 6 paragraphs. And paragraph number 1 is the only teaching. After this, it's all practical. It's a lesson. I mean, not a lesson, but a practice process. Um, and so I find that really interesting as I revisit this lesson, that it's very eager to get into the teaching, and it's very condensed. And so I'll just highlight what the teaching is at the top. So it's basically getting at the idea that peace comes from the inside out, not from the outside in. We've seen this many, many times in the course in different ways about different things, abundance and scarcity and things like that. So here, I'll just read the top paragraph, and then we can break it down a little bit and then get into the practice part of it. It says, the idea for today begins to describe the conditions that prevail in the other way of seeing. Other way of seeing meaning that we could see peace instead of the turmoil, the anxiety, the resentment, the depression, whatever it is that we see in a situation. So it says the idea for today begins to describe the conditions that prevail in the other way of seeing. Peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. It must begin with your own thoughts and then extend outward. It is from peace of mind that a peaceful perception of the world arises. Now, uh, a teacher here may be giving us more credit sometimes than uh, each of us may think we have. It says peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. I don't know. It's like, is that really the case? Or if my circumstances were more peaceful, I'd feel more peaceful. That's how we're mostly attuned to this idea. And I see it as a bit of coaching to kind of make the suggestion, that it's clearly okay. Then we got to get to the place where that's clear, because it's not clear right now. Or I'm just waiting for that person to stop bothering me, or that the change of government, or the people in government to do what I want them to do, whatever that is, left, right, whatever, or my partner, or my kids, or my business. If it would just cooperate, I'd be more peaceful. That's how most of us are configured around this. And here the teaching is very clear that we start with peace on the inside. Okay, so the rest is about practicing how to get there. Let me just put a few things into this, and then Brittany, I'll check with you to see if you have any thoughts about this, right? So this is not all that different from the other things that get us to list things, like lesson 78. Make an inventory of all the things that bother you or that you resent, or all your grievances about a particular person, right? So just go to the heart of this. It says some 5 minutes of mind searching. This is paragraph 3, are required for each of the longer practice periods. Search your mind for fear thoughts, anxiety provoking situations, offending personalities or events, or anything else about which you are harboring unloving thoughts. Note them all casually, repeating the idea for today slowly as you watch them arise in your mind, and let each one go to be replaced by the next, right? That's the heart of the exercise. And then it just talks about this over and over again. I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, or worry for my thoughts about this situation, personality, or event with peace. In other words, I can exchange anything that's negative or pulling me down. If I surface it, look at it, let it go, I can replace it with a call to peace in my mind, right? That's it. That's the whole thing. So, Brittany, let me check with you, see if you have any thoughts, any ideas. And then the next segment that we go to is the headlines from different world events. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then we'll get to the closing of call to action and things like that. Uh,
Yeah, as a new mom, I can really relate to this lesson and this exercise actually, because as I've been, I guess I don't have like traditional work, but taking kind of maternity leave, I've been left with this feeling kind of at the end of every day, the feeling where in without these circumstances, I would call it dread, like something's wrong. And
mm,
then I had to kind of put my finger on what is that feeling? And when I could identify what the feeling was, I could dissolve it because it was irrational. And the feeling was, oh, another day that went by and I didn't do anything except take care of the baby and like survive. And then once I could identify how silly that was and how that was enough, and that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, the feeling of dread dissolved, and then I could have peace again. So that was kind of like sometimes it helps to put your finger on what's like interrupting your peace, and then you can talk yourself out of it or apply, this thinking to it, and just choose to see peace instead.
wow, that's
Mhm.
beautiful. That is really powerful as a best practice, as a call to action. Even it amplifies the lesson in a very practical way. Where that's very powerful. Now, don't mean to go down a rabbit hole on this for now, but um, does postpartum depression feel like a thing in your experience, or not yet,
No,
or
no,
not at
I've been
all?
looking out for it because,
Okay,
I guess sometimes it would feel the most problematic if you weren't expecting it. So I've been kind of like watching out, and I haven't felt any kind of anything I would call postpartum depression. In general, I'm very introspective and I can be a little bit cynical in my own head sometimes. So I don't feel
right.
anything that deviates from my normal kind of thought patterns.
Yes.
The dread is just kind of like unproductivity, which I knew was going to be a problem for me because um, I used to live a very fast paced life. I've already slowed down a lot in the past 2 years, but now it's like with breastfeeding, that really slows you down.
Okay.
One of my friends said she calculated the minutes. I haven't done this for myself. She said it was 8 hours that she was breastfeeding throughout
Wow.
a day.
Wow.
Um, so I wouldn't say it's always that for me. And also, you can do things while you're breastfeeding, but you're very like physically bound to
Sure.
being slow. So, yeah.
Yeah, and just to make a note,
Mhm.
the goal wasn't to get you off of the topic of the
Mhm.
dread, which is a different
Mhm.
feeling in the sense of, oh, I didn't do anything, or
Yeah,
the day just
dread
went.
like yeah, like I've neglected to do something today. Like I
Yes.
forgot to pay a bill. That's what
What's
it feels
missing?
like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Something like, oh, I forgot something or what's missing. Yeah, I didn't do something. Sometimes they call it the Sunday scaries when you like know Monday's
Oh,
coming and you're
right.
like,
Right.
oh, something like that kind of
Yes.
feeling every night. It physically returns to me, but then I have to mentally check it and say, no, I don't need to be doing anything else. Obviously, it's nice when you've cleaned the house and,
Right. Right.
taken a long shower and all that. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Wow. Cool. I love it. This is very, very powerful
Mhm.
for all of us. And again, men, so a couple of quick things. So one is that I am deeply amazed and fascinated with the idea that a woman such as what you're doing and have done can produce a baby over a period of gestation, produce a baby, and then produce the food for the baby. These two things, even though I know we're talking about how long it takes and some of the gaps it can produce in your life and the compensate, all the areas of focus that are involved. I mean, I think that those two things are really, 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 really powerful and something that men can't do. There's just men typically. There's a whole big conversation about trans and all of this. I'm not trying to be controversial or go there, but I'm just saying that in traditional roles. So again, it's just there's gratitude. I don't think it's envy, but it's admiration. It's like, oh wow, look at all the things that a woman can do that we can't do now. the last pivot, and then I'll check with you again before we get to the headlines, is um, so there are sometimes when I'll say things to my clients like, you met as two separate people, you're falling in love with each other, you're in the honeymoon period, you're going to go through a disillusionment, most likely. There'll be a power struggle, you'll start villainizing, but that's a birth process. You're giving birth to a new relationship. And I don't think the birth process is just a walk in the park. I think it's got some wrestling and some struggling with it. Now, I say what I'm asking you is, in a way, is how does that feel as an analogy to use about other things in life where people are giving birth to something, given that I don't know what that is really, personally. I can make the analogy, but I don't want to take liberties by saying something that could be appropriation or whatever. And you always say, "Oh, Dave, you're so thoughtful about that," but it's unnecessary, okay? And you'll coach me about that. But anyway, over to you. Anything you want to say about? Do you get what I'm asking?
I think so.
Okay,
But I have to say that every time I've used that analogy, giving birth something or this is the baby, I never saw it from the pain perspective. I just saw it as like the new life part. I really
okay,
just I don't know how everyone uses that terminology, but I just never really thought of the birthing pains part, the labor
okay.
pains.
Yes,
Or people will say a labor of love, but I'm thinking still like kind of rose-colored glasses. Like now I've felt labor, now I felt birth,
yeah,
and I understand that aspect of it. I really glazed over that in the past, and that might have even played into why my birth felt a little bit of a disappointment with how painful it was or
I
how
see.
I was able to manage it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think yeah, it just gives me a new lens to see those types of analogies. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful. You got the
Mhm.
nuance of
Mhm.
it. When I'm
Yeah.
sharing it with a couple, I'm like, they
Yeah.
they expect, and people around them expect, oh, you should be in the honeymoon. Why are you fighting?
Mm. Mhm.
Why is this becoming what it is? And
Mhm.
and I'm like, wait, I mean, the way I understand the couple process and marriage therapy and couples therapy and all of that is you get to a disillusionment and it's not pleasant.
Mhm.
It's just the way the
Mhm.
baby's going to come. And it's a natural part of it. And we can look for
Mhm.
ways to ease that, make
Mhm.
it better.
Mhm.
But to think that it's going to be a bed of roses and that's what I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't, that's not how it is. The relationship being
Mhm.
birthed into a new together
Mhm.
relationship, not from two separate people.
Yeah.
It'll be painful on some
Mhm.
level if you don't know how to navigate it. So you
Right.
got that. You totally got what I'm
Mhm.
saying. And
Mhm.
people look, oh, Dave, here comes Dave again.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I love it. I love what you said.
Yeah.
But anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, going back to your previous point, just concurring, yeah, it's a miracle that women can give birth and can produce a baby and sustain a baby. And that's how long I wanted to be a mom was from when I found out that women could do that. When I thought,
Okay.
wow, that's so cool. I could do that someday. And from that point on, I was like, never wavered on that. Always wanted to be a mom. And then another point was that at some point in my pregnancy, I was enjoying it, and I looked at my husband and I said, "Are you kind of jealous that you're never gonna have get to have this experience?" And with no hesitation, he goes, "No." I was surprised he didn't think about it more. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
That's to my other point
Yeah, to
about
your other point.
potential
Yeah.
jealousy, envy, or like most guys
Yeah,
are like, yeah, I
yeah.
don't
You
think
said
I'm up to that.
appreciation.
Yes.
That's probably what he would say too.
Yeah.
Appreciation, not envy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's,
Yeah.
it's in the deeper psychoanalytic literature, there's all kinds of issues of envy back and forth between the genders.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I won't mention the big one from Freud, which starts with a P, but most people know what it is. So there's
Mm.
that level of envy. I mean, my point is that
Mhm.
a cigar is just never a cigar in the psychoanalytic world. It's you got lots of deep things. So fascinating conversation. I love it. And the whole point of this is that as somebody who's been through that bodily pain yourself, the idea of a miracle mindset is not bogus to you.
Mhm.
I'm not asking you to promote anything or fight for anything or defend anything, but I just get the feeling that through it all,
Mhm.
the ups and downs of it and the pain of it, especially, that for you, it's still miracle mindset is still a worthwhile thing.
Oh,
But,
absolutely.
but you say
Absolutely.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
Great. Well, we'll have a lot more to talk about as we go along on this. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to say before we finish up for today?
No, that's it. Typically, yeah, we do. a call to action. It's really built into the lesson here. So yeah, I think my anecdote about kind of checking in with those thoughts of dread, anxiety, the lesson here says offending personalities or events or anything else that you might be harboring unloving thoughts. Um, Note them casually, repeat the idea for today slowly as you watch them arise in your mind and let each one go and be replaced by the next. So that's the call to action for now, and everybody could practice that today or when it next comes across your mind.
Absolutely beautiful call to action, and thank you. You illustrated it so powerfully. Just gave us so much source material to use for the discussion. The headlines, I'll just make this really brief as
Hmm.
we exit out. It's so again, one of the main ones is the war, or
Hmm.
whatever it is. We don't really even know if it's a war. Is it? What is it exactly? The
Hmm.
media keeps throwing it up into like ambiguity. They haven't heard really what it is. Okay,
Hmm.
but uh, so that's going on
Hmm.
since we talked the last time. And again, this segment is just bringing the miracle process that we talked
Hmm.
about, the miracle mindset process, to whatever we see in the headlines, right? So that this is like, okay, I could see peace
Hmm.
instead of this. It's not a cause to be more frightened about things. Or
Hmm.
now people are suffering there.
Yeah.
People, foreigners, people in the American diaspora who are there can't get back home. Travel is um, disrupted. So that's a big thing. We had the Olympics. There was some politicizing of that. Uh, who's going to go to the White House and why? Men's teams, women's teams, and then we had the passing away of Jesse Jackson and towering civil rights figure in so many different ways. And then the latest news is his son, his adult son, is unhappy with the fact that the three presidents who were there, Clinton, Obama, and Biden, were talking too much in terms of politics. And he feels like they didn't heed his request that they not make it political. And then there's pushback on him. I was like, your dad was nothing but political. So these people knew him in a political context. So that's a big back and forth type of thing. But anyway, those are some headlines. Just want to put out that we don't really, in our process, we're not engaging in controversy and the conflict. We're just lifting up uh, whatever it is so that we can practice seeing more peace in it and bring more healing to it by being conduits for the divine power and love uh, that we're always talking about. So that's it. Anything you want to conclude with, your own headline to end with, or anything else, and then we're truly finished.
Yeah, I'll try to make this negative note sum up into something positive. But as I was reading the headlines today, man, I thought the world is not in good shape. That was just like today, I think you had listed like nine different things going
Right.
on, and so much of it was just like, oof, how do we figure out that? How do we get out of that? The Epstein files and this and
Oh yeah, I've
oh,
seen. I didn't
the
even
world
mention
is
that.
in
Yeah.
such a bad state. But the positive is that we have a solution. We've got miracle mindsets, and we have to use it because if you go down these rabbit holes, there's no coming out. You've got to just keep. You got to be like the hawk flying above the storm. So that's how we have a tool to do that here, and that's what we're all about. So thanks for watching and listening, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love what you just did there, turning the
Thank you.
nightmarish component to the
Hmm.
miracle component. You just did that so beautifully again. Uh, we didn't scheme that or over prep that. It's just a beautiful, beautiful way. I feel the energy, positive energy rising up in me, Brittany, from what you just did there. Thank you.
Thank
So, and
you.
thank you for reviewing the headlines. Again, we don't have to touch on everything, but
Mhm.
I love it. I love what you did there. So thank you everybody for watching. If you have comments, anything you want to say, you can post them on the video or on any of the other places where you can find us. There, everything is thoroughly listed in the show notes
Mhm.
on YouTube. You can find the newsletter too, which is a kind of a grab bag of all kinds of other things pertaining to this work. Um, so thank you to our audience, the people who do respond, who have been responding. We love it. We love hearing from you. Thank you, Brittany, for being back in the swing of things here with me as a new mom. I'll be thinking about you and your baby and your husband. I'll be keeping you in my prayers. And thank you for everything you brought to this show today. And I'll look for you next month, April.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
You're
And
welcome,
bye,
Brittany. Thank you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.